Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities, dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow is what we'll cover. We do have a 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time question and answer session tomorrow, which is Saturday. So don't forget that if you're a part of it and you want to attend it. And if you need any help with anything, you can join finding-value.com. We have discount going on right now. If you want to talk about individual sectors or companies or ask me questions directly, you can go to those question and answer sessions. They are taped. They are on the website, and I do share all of the previous stuff. And you can see my portfolio, and you can see what I'm doing in it real time. All right, guys, let's dive in here and see what's going on in the markets today. So we've got the DXY here. It is strengthening today along with yields. And I'm sure you guys, if you've been watching it religiously here, you can tell that there's definitely a correlation between DXY and yields. The majority of the time that DXY is strong, a lot of the times yields have gone up somewhere in the curve. So we're up on the dollar 0.33%. It's decently higher. This is what it looks like on a weekly basis. It does look like it's strengthening. We'll see if this is a turning point or not. Highly depends on yields, so we can gather more information when looking at the yields. Yields were up quite a bit today, 2.7%. Now, this gets difficult to see if this is a turning point or not. We had a pretty strong day today, 2.7, but we also had a massive selling pressure bout here. So we haven't really broken any of, we'll call it the trend lines that we are creating here. But perhaps this is a falling type wedge where we're actually eventually going to work to the upside at some point. You can see there's kind of a middle guy through here too. So we'll see where this thing goes. But right now, it's higher in the short term. The 10-year also was up 2.76%, but it's undeniably in a downtrend. Here I can kind of roll this here. It is close to trying to break it. We'll see what happens next. But we're still in that downtrend. We're right up against that resistance line. The 30-year yield's in the same thing. We've dropped out of this falling kind of wedge pattern. We came up, and we might bounce and head lower. We might go up. The short term here is a difficult read on which direction we want to go. The momentum's to the downside and on all of the different time frames, the 2-year, 10-year, and 30-year. But we did get a bounce today. That's what I'll say. And we'll see if that bounce will continue into next week. And that bounce, oil prices and higher yields generally go together. Lower yields and an uninversion of the yield curve is generally what gets behind precious metals to push precious metals higher. So today, we had an inversion of the yield curve and higher yields. This is the inversion of the yield curve. Gold doesn't like that. Does not like that. But bigger picture view, we are at a very cheap level down here where the yield curve is inverted quite a bit. And generally speaking, if you're a patient investor, you buy stuff when this is inverted and you wait for it to uninvert. That is generally where you make money in precious metals. So gold went up during this bout there, and it came down coming this way. Bond prices down a little bit. Are we getting a retest to this resistance support level? Again, we'll have to wait and see on what occurs here. But we're right at that resistance level, and we'll see if we either come back down, which means yields go up, or do we get a bounce and ricochet up to the upside? Difficult to say what's going to win out there. You got kind of this upward channel going on. We've got gold going down $27 an ounce. Some people are probably scared of that. I am not. It looks like we got a little bit of a bounce towards the end of the day. There's the little bounce there towards the end of the day, but you can see the selling pressure as we came back down. I still think we are going to head higher. I mean, we very well could even come down here to 1920 or lower 1900s again if we decide to do that. If we do that, guys, that's going to be one heck of a buying opportunity, in my opinion. We're sitting on top of support. We have an inverted yield curve. When that curve uninverts, whenever that is, that's generally tailwinds behind gold and other precious metals. It could also go higher if people start to really sell bonds and we get above 5% yields. That's when they took off in the 1970s. So that's another maybe threshold area that we want to look at where gold could go up with increasing yields. Silver also getting strangled today. Big selling pressure, 3% down move. We've got support. This is our other kind of inverted head and shoulders down at $23 flat. So that's what we're seeing in silver, and it is a stronger selling pressure day to day. Platinum up $10, bucking the trend, and this actually looks pretty good. We're sitting on top of a pattern here. We broke back out, and we're sitting on top. And usually when you're sitting on top of trend lines, that's where I continue to be bullish. And then palladium also getting whacked, just like gold and silver today. But I still think this is trying to put in some sort of bottom here over, I think, the next whatever it is, however long it takes. We're back to this trend line, and last time we had a basing period, a breakout, a retest, and this is a great time to be buying the retests. And then you could have held on and sold it up here like I did and swapped it into something else. Platinum is where I swapped it. And you can see the platinum to palladium ratio is favorable platinum. We had a very good, it was a 3-to-1 ratio almost up here. And it was, nope, sorry, I swapped it here in April of 2020. And now that ratio is basically 1-to-1, which is good. Good for me. XAU to gold ratio, still looking good. Now, keep in mind, we're coming on back. Maybe we got a retest here, like I've said. We're doing that right now. And hopefully we get to see some strength in the gold and silver mining companies and gold itself. I am really wanting this to break out here, guys. I really, really want to. Maybe it's just not prime yet. I'm waiting patiently. We do have a bullish setup here. Bullish piercing, bullish engulfing with a little bloody nose. It looks good to continue higher. So hopefully that continues higher and we get the gold and silver mining companies to rip it. But not yet. Not yet. CRB index obviously was up today given where oil was up. But this still has a lot of downside momentum. And this bounce isn't that strong. I would be looking for kind of maybe a rollover even where we get further selling pressure out in the future. I would be looking for it. CRB to S&P 500, it was up. CRB index is driven by oil quite a bit, but we have downside momentum. And we have to turn that momentum around. This is the previous fractal last bull market. You can see we kind of came down and dipped, just like we're doing. And maybe we bottom sometime here in the first quarter of 2024. GDX down 2%, right back to support. So it's not looking too bad. I like being on top of support. We've got GDXJ down 1.9%. It's just hitting its head on that trend line. There we are down today. And then SILJ, we're also above support, the horizontal support here, but we hit our head on this resistance line and have fallen back down from it. But I remain bullish on the gold and silver mining companies and the precious metals themselves based off where they're located against their support levels. Crude oil up 2.7%. If we look at the monthlies here, though, is this bottoming? I don't know, guys. I mean, we got to see yields. If yields come on up, we could see this move on up, but I think we're gonna stay down here for a little bit. I think we got to base it out. We've got a lot of downside momentum here, coming down with some pretty strong selling pressure. So let it regather itself. I am still bullish on oil on the big picture view. We are above support. The support I'm talking about is this on logarithmic. I don't have it on log because it flings it all over the place. But If we remain above this area and we get, maybe we can come back to $63, $64 even, I would still be bullish. And I think we are going to rip at some point to the upside and resume the big bull market in commodities. So this is your big move here. This is wave 2 that's still working its way out. And then I think we're going to get a big move. Now, the fractal that I generally look at, this fractal here, I've seen some fractals. They come up, they pull back, you do like a little double hump there, and then you do one last clef. So I think we're getting really, really close to that point where crude oil could take off again. But it might take some time. We're looking big picture view. Soon means 3 to 6 months. TTF gas down a little bit. This still looks like we could go lower here now. We have a bearish engulfing today against resistance. So I do think it could head lower in the short term. Nat gas also continuing to head lower with that momentum behind it. And I think that could continue in the short term there. XOP, yeah, you know me. Again, we have a bounce today. It's up 1.24%, but see how this comes down? Very short time frame, lots of selling pressure. We've got some sort of flag pattern, and we've broken to the downside. I still think there's downside left in this. I do not see a reversal candlestick. I don't see strong buying pressure yet. I think there's still some downside left where we could do something like that. So just be patient. OIH also has the same type of thing. We've got all these strong red candlesticks, the red armies everywhere in here. I don't see the green candlesticks like you see on this side. So we're definitely in a pullback. We could see this kind of work its way like that for a little bit while longer. Looking at Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, it's still hanging out. That is a flag pattern. I think it's going to continue higher at some point. Still looks good. We've got URA, which is also putting in a bullish candlestick. It's a bullish engulfing. That looks like we could potentially head higher. We are above support. All looks pretty good for URA still. URANIM still hanging out there. We've got a nice little up day today. It's not any reversal candlestick or anything. It still looks good. We're above support. I think we could still go higher. And then URNJ is doing the same thing as URNM. Here's your bullish engulfing there. You come up, small selling pressure, tap support. We'll see if we can get a bounce. TAN down a little bit, but still looks good. We've got the big buying pressure, small selling pressure days. That looks good to go higher. Still, it looks like we're putting in a solid base and that buyers are coming in and buying up TAN. COPX, another bullish day today, up about 1.5%. It's a bullish engulfing. We've got one here too. I think we're going to go higher. Looks very good. Lithium holding on. It looks good to go higher, I think. Sideways to higher. We're still basing out is what we're doing. So sideways is the base. We broke the downtrend line. Eventually, it'll work its way on up. REMX is the same thing. We're basing out. We're going sideways. The downtrends cease to exist. You get your kind of like I think they call it a 2B bottom, where you get a support line, and then it dips down and fakes everybody out and then rips it back to the upside. But I think it looks good. S&P 500 up 0.41%, still chugging along. We still are looking good. And then the NASDAQ chugging along too. We do have a couple of bearish candlesticks thrown in the mix there that kind of punched us lower. We'll see how sustaining this move is to the upside. KRE still looks good. It's just working its way up, grinding on higher from what I think is a Livermore accumulation cylinder. I think we are going to go into an explosion to the upside at some point based off of the home builders. EEM, stronger dollar, stronger yields, does not like that. So when that dollar weakens, that's when EEM is going to rip it. That's when all of our emerging market stuff is going to really take off. The patterns are there. It's basically in a holding pattern, flying around in circles, going around saying, hey, when are we going to land? When that dollar drops, it's going to rip. That's my opinion. Now, XHB continues to rip higher. I thought we were in this big crash of a market in real estate, big real estate crash. I don't think so, guys. This is going higher. I think this is a Livermore accumulation cylinder, and I think we are going to land far, far, far away. In all honesty, guys, I really do think that we are going to go way higher in this. I think we are going to rip and go like way up there. It's going to go big time. So that's what I think is going to occur in the home builders, and we are making new all-time highs on a closing monthly basis. Well, if we close this month where it is, Moo's still looking all good. Looks like it's trying to break to the upside of this downtrend. Let's watch it and see if it breaks it. Copper looking pretty good, up 1%, still hanging in there above support. That's an ugly looking thing. Above support, and it looks good to go higher. Still looks good. Iron ore, we were down a little bit today, but still grinding on up. I think we've got a long way to go in iron ore. And there's your another accumulation cylinder that we're seeing in the carry index, or ETF, I should say, and the XHB. It's all the same stuff. Aluminum just moving sideways, but it does have a lot of momentum to the downside. We could see further downside. Baltic Dry Index down 12%. Looks like that big move is reversing, and we could come back to the support level, which is a ultra magnet level at that 1800 level. Been at that level for a long time. That's a huge resistance support level. And we've been bouncing up and down all over the place around it. Newcastle coal up 3%. That looks like it's ready to bottom and rip it. I think that looks really good. Good spot to be looking for is coal futures. Bitcoin continuing to lay down good candlesticks. Still looks good to go higher. We've got the big green army showing up, the small selling pressure, which is a flag candlestick, and we are breaking to the upside of it. Looks fantastic. And then Ethereum also working its way on up, and I think that will continue. We are above a lot of resistance support. So this is your basing pattern down here, and this is your break to the upside. It is ripping it. So that's what I've got for today, guys. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Don't forget about tomorrow if you want to attend the question and answer session at 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. We'll see you there if you're part of it. And overall, commodities don't look too bad. A little bit of selling pressure today in gold and silver. I'm not worried about it. I think we're still going up. Give it time. Oil is going to need some time, and nat gas to kind of base out. I think there's a lot of recessionary fears perhaps out in the market. Maybe we do get a slowdown in the beginning of quarter one or something like that. Possible. But again, I'm not projecting that. It's not a prediction. All of these sectors are still incredibly cheap. Incredibly cheap. And for those who are willing to hold on and go through all this volatility, you'll get rewarded. Just not yet. Just not yet. All right, guys. We'll catch you later. This is Finding Value.